Are we ready? Okay, good. Why do you believe? You ever thought about it? Why do I believe? Huh? Okay. Okay. Have you ever wondered about people who believe the earth is flat? It's an interesting starting point for really deeper conversation. This isn't about planetary geometry. It's about beliefs. True or false, they can completely shape our lives. Okay, the earth isn't flat, but to people who believe it is, that belief feels absolutely real. How can something so objectively incorrect feel so genuine? Because believers have built their entire world around that belief. They found communities, watched videos, read articles, and discovered evidence that works for them. They've reinforced their belief until it became their reality. And you see, that's the thing about beliefs. They don't have to be true to shape your life. They just have to be reinforced. The architecture of belief systems. A belief system is simply a set of ideas that you accept as true. What makes belief systems so powerful is that they operate largely unconsciously, silently directing your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, often without your awareness. Most importantly, beliefs come from interpretations, not necessarily truth. They are often emotional conclusions drawn from painful experiences, not rational facts. So exploring belief systems comes from interpretations, not necessarily truth, and they also involve understanding the frameworks through which we interpret reality, ranging from deep-seated personal core beliefs to expansive societal structures like good old religion and good old politics. Okay, so core components of belief systems. Personal belief systems, they are built upon individual assumptions about yourself, others, and the world. I am capable. The world, it's unsafe. Religious and spiritual organized frameworks usually center on deity, morality, and the afterlife. And oh, by the way, there's only over 10,000 of these in the world. And they are believed to be true. Then you can also have philosophical views on human nature, the origin of knowledge and the definition of reality. Political, these are ideologies regarding how a society should be governed and the policies it should enforce. Beliefs, they act as the internal filter or lens that directs thoughts, feelings, and actions, often operating unconsciously. It was interesting for me growing up as a young boy because it was often in the country. So the kids I generally shared with gave to me a country perspective on how it was and how it should be. I got invited to the Ku Klux Klan, and at the time, I didn't think it was much of an invitation. Maybe I should have, but I didn't. I just realized it was something others believed in that I didn't necessarily hold to be true, but hey, many beliefs form, and they form, let's say about you, about me, as kids growing up. They usually form and establish themselves from early childhood experiences, family dynamics, trauma, and of course, cultural training. And it does have a biological impact on us. So, epigenetics that studies thought and belief, they come to say that our thoughts and our beliefs, they do affect our cellular biology and our biochemistry by changing how the body responds, let's just say, to stress and environmental signals. Here's an interesting thing. Confirmation bias. People often build bubbles of belief and seek evidence that supports our existing convictions while dismissing contrary information. Sound like you? Just curious. Could, you know. I mean, you could be biased against what I'm saying right now. And you may walk out or you may go to sleep. Stay awake. It won't be for long. Okay, so to explore and change your beliefs, if you ever have a mind to, you have to realize that many beliefs are formed unconsciously. So looking at them and maybe deconstructing them requires intentional effort. The use of awareness, of course, and reflection, and maybe even journaling what you come up with if you're really interested in changing a core belief. So like, why do I feel I'm not enough? Any of you know anyone like that? You know, like maybe only about 2 layers deep? Okay, so then there's another technique that you go from one question to the next. You ask yourself about how you're feeling, what you're thinking. If that were true, what would it mean? Let it take you down to the next layer. Then ask the question again. If that were true, what would it mean? To where if you're really sincere about this, you can get down to core beliefs of why you believe the way you do, and maybe even believe you are who you believe you are. Notice I said believe. All staying within that realm. Okay, so if you have once identified a core belief, then ask yourself, is this objectively true? And then challenge the absoluteness of that belief. Who gave this belief to me? Where did I get it? So the intent of this, of course, is to recognize its origin. Then, do I want to keep it? Is it really serving me well? Okay, so for the most harmful core beliefs, the answer to the last question is a resounding no. But simply deciding to let go of a belief, it creates a vacuum. Your natural tendency, unless you choose to replace it with something else, is to go right back to it. And that's because the brain is programmed, the brain is trained to work in that direction for the benefit and well-being of you as it sees it. So if your old belief was, I am not worthy, and you find out that to be true, and you take it down to its core essence, what are you going to replace it with? Don't go so far off the mark that you can't handle it. But you might want to try out, I am worthy. Or if that's too steep for you, I'm growing. I'm improving. Something that is within your reach, but is still at the same time, you're stretching beyond where you were. Or, if your old belief is, I can't depend on anyone, keep taking advantage of them. Just checking. Okay. If you can't depend on anyone, your new belief might be, I'm learning to let others support me. You know, while I'm laughing about this, if you ever encounter yourself at this level, it's going to be a major challenge to you. Because for all this time, however old you are, you have believed that this was true about you, only to come to a realization because you, by God, wanted to come to the realization, you see, that's really not true about me. And then you ask yourself, do I want to live this way the rest of my life? Or do I want to make a change? And you see, that's often the way it is. Haven't you ever quit a habit? A habit is something you've taken on to work with some kind of belief you have about yourself. And maybe it was a habit that became addictive, you know, like sex. Oh, excuse me. I should have said smoking. Or drinking. You know, people who have these habits, they will even engage in living those habits to the point of hurting others and having to come forth to the person that they've hurt and said, okay, I promise you, I'll never do this again. Only to, sure enough, go back and do the habit again, which in essence simply reinforces the habit they have. Okay, wait a minute. What kind of group are you guys? Are any of you following this? Yes. Okay, is this maybe helping you help yourself? Okay, good. All right, so we took it down to, if that were true, what would it mean? All right, then changing your beliefs. Okay. Another thing you might do to help yourself is, whenever you come up with a realization, write it down. Make sure that you have it somewhere where you can see it. The mirror on the bathroom, the refrigerator someplace, your phone. And when you look at it, you say, okay, I am making progress. This is who I want to become because this is who I see I am. All right. You might even want to say it out loud. Where we're going right now, in the challenges that life is facing us with, we're seeing really that it does aim right at the core of our beliefs. Who we believe we are and what we believe is. And notice I'm still using that word, belief. So all of this that's coming out might very well help you help yourself in coming to a different realization that feels more comfortable with who you see you are. And remember, we get to choose who we believe. Early, it was somebody else who chose for us, and we simply accepted. So, we get to choose. So what we may not realize is how much those beliefs really do shape our behavior. And as a matter of fact, it has been said that beliefs are the most powerful thing you can change. Because when you change a belief, you change everything else down from it. And you cannot change a belief, rather a behavior, without first changing the belief behind it. Otherwise, it's got everything it needs to stay in place. So, a process for belief transformation might very well involve awareness. Just might very well. It's a possibility. So when you first become aware of what you believe, you're taking a step out of the realm where, in all likelihood, that belief formed, and that was in your unconscious mind. So when you start questioning underlying assumptions that drive your behavior, you may find that a part of you says, why do I keep doing this? As you light one cigarette off of another. Any of you ever smoked that way? A chain smoker? No? No? Oh, jeez. To have someone who has an embedded behavior like that has got to have some really unconscious beliefs behind it. And I'm saying what I know, because I've been there, done that. And I quit 15, 16 times until I finally quit. I've thrown away more cigarettes, more pipes, more tobacco, and only gone back and bought it again until finally something inside of me clicked and I realized that's not who I am. So anyhow, example. So then you come up with forming a new belief to take its place. So you need to ask, is that true? Is it false? Is it for me? Is it against me? And who is it? Is it me? So these are things to, take into account. You need to pay attention, recognize a lot of it will probably be at an unconscious level, then really examine it. Take a close look, because after all, in all likelihood, if you're looking at a belief with you, that isn't because it's something that is so outstandingly strong. But even if it is, please go there. I mean, after all, that strength may be actually the flat earth. And you have just surrounded yourself with people that agree to the same thing until, after all, you walked out and thought you're going to definitely walk off the edge. The only thing you did is you fell in the bathtub. So you never know, So the creation of new beliefs. Consciously decide what you want to believe. And this isn't about positive thinking and affirmations. It's about choosing beliefs that are both empowering and reasonable. Your new belief, like I said, should be about stretching, but not completely unbelievable to your current awareness. So in conclusion, in this quest, we started to unravel the web of our core beliefs, taking an important step toward living more authentically. It's about identifying and challenging, and when necessary, reshaping our beliefs to ensure they truly resonate with who we are and who we want to become. Through introspection, critical questioning, and an openness to change, we can align our inner world with the outer, creating a life that not only makes sense, but feels right at the very core. Now we could bring into account our monetary system right now, because that's all held in place by belief. If it doesn't happen this lifetime, then consider what that's going to be your next lifetime. Where are the values actually going to be placed? Are they going to be there to serve us, or for us to, once again, be the ones who are controlled and manipulated into believing this is for our benefit when it truly isn't? So, stepping beyond the flat earth and entering into a realm of becoming, because truly, if not this time, then our next lifetime is going to be filled with a different set of values, which then are going to be picked up by our parents, which are then going to be passed on to us, to where I perceive that because of who we truly are, the beings that we are, we're going to be able to get beyond the limited structure of the beliefs that we're operating under this time around. Thank you very much.